Good morning YouTube and welcome back to the channel, and an exciting video today, one I've wanted to film for a long time. Spencers Repsol Fireblade SP. Now these bikes are quite special to me because I actually worked at Honda when these were released. So today we're going to see what it's all about and go for a little ride on the road. Now the SP comes with some pretty special features, mainly the engine, which has been completely blueprinted by Honda. And you're probably thinking, well, what is blueprinting? And I think the easiest way to describe blueprinted engine is when you walk into McDonald's and you order a Big Mac and you see it up on the board, you think, that's what I want. And then when you open that box and it just looks like a pile of crap, even though it is still a Big Mac, essentially a blueprinted engine is the picture on the wall, the perfection. So to go through the changes, it's had cylinder head revision and porting work to make up for the blueprinting, so it is perfect. All the pistons, rods, everything is balanced, so it's made exactly as it should be. And the beauty is now it will run smoother and it generally makes more power. Now officially when it was released, Honda didn't make any statements of how much power, but when I was down at the Honda Academy, they claimed upwards of 10 horsepower over the normal Fireblade of the same year on the non-SP variant. So as mentioned, the engine's going to be the first thing we talk about. Very smooth, very Honda like. Really smooth engine, and the gearbox is lovely and light and interacts positively. It doesn't feel clunky or heavy. And it's been a long time since I've ridden this generation of Fireblade, but it definitely feels a lot smoother. And I don't know whether that's the blueprinting getting into my head, but yeah, there's no vibration at all, especially after coming off the R1M. But right now we're in third gear, 4,000 RPM, roll on. Plenty of power, plenty in the tank. And yeah, I mean, I guess this is what Honda's really been known for, especially through the Fireblade. It's out of the bunch, it's the easiest one to get on and ride. And if you've ever ridden a Panigale or even like the RC8 that I had previously, or even the R1, you jump on this and you're instantly reassured that it's a smooth power curve and it's very predictable. That's not to say it's boring, because as you'll see in the clip now, it revs. There is no lack of RPM, but this feels proper, really like, well, Japanese, isn't it? Like say you get on something like the R1, again a smooth bike but just a bit more wild. And the R1, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'd ride without anti-wheelie, whereas this, I don't feel intimidated by it because of the way the power comes in. There's no surge where it feels like it just wants to randomly pop the front wheel in the air, but obviously that will happen. It's a 180 horsepower bike. So power-wise, it's claimed to have 178 horsepower and 80 foot-pounds of torque at the flywheel. For those who watch the R1M remap video, we go into more about wheel and flywheel bigger outputs, but ultimately it's about a bike of this time, about 20 horsepower off the competition, which if you're Valentino Rossi or, you know, any decent rider,
you're going to notice that on track, but for 99% of us, I don't think 20 horsepower is nothing. And as we mentioned earlier, when I was at the Honda Academy, there was word that these were making almost 10 horsepower more than the standard bike, which is quite a jump really, because that puts us up into the 190s. But yeah, let me know in the comments, have you seen otherwise? Do they make more power? Who knows? Sensational gearbox. A few little burbles as well there.
In need of a new crash helmet? Why not check out Nex's range of road and race crash helmets? Stone Automotive is proud to be part of the affiliate scheme, so if you buy a helmet through the link, not only will you bag yourself 10% discount, you'll also be supporting the channel, so go check them out.
The next big feature on the SP over the normal model, the wonderful Öhlins suspension. For road use, just absolutely perfect. And if you was to try and buy this kit, it ends up being in the thousands, especially when you factor in all the extras on this bike. And while we're over this corner, we've also got the Brembo monoblock calipers, the creme de la creme of brakes for that age, especially for a road bike. And this was actually the first Fireblade to be given a decent brake upgrade out of the factory.
Now, we haven't played with the Öhlins suspension, it's on whatever Spence bought it with, and this is a bumpy bit of road, and we'll go on another bumpy bit of road as well. But yeah, it handles well, there is no issues with that. I mean, this is, look at the surface, there's ridges in it, it doesn't feel uncompromised, it feels like I know what's going on underneath me, but at the same time it's just firm and direct and enough that it's not uncomfortable or crashy. Hard to explain over a camera, I guess, but for me, I think this rides on the Öhlins so much better than the factory one, which I believe comes with a shower forks, which aren't bad suspension by any means, but you do feel that plushness that the Öhlins provide, and when you really get on it, yeah, it does handle well. While we're talking about the sort of suspension areas, I guess we'll go on to the Brembos, the monoblocks. Wow, what a bit of kit. I mean, even now you pull and it's not grabby, it's just so progressive. One finger braking, yeah, you'll be over the bars if you're not careful. But Brembo are the kings of this. They are the big boys in the market, they've been around a long time. But that said, I've got the Hell Performance calipers on the R1, because they are the standard calipers on the R1 out of the factory. I know a lot of people don't hate them, but very disappointing when you come from something like this. And I've got to be honest, for me, the feel with the Hells is right up there, which for a small UK-based company, I knew they were going to be better than what I had. But riding this today, I didn't think the Hells were going to be as good as they are, because I hadn't ridden it all winter, so it's hard to do a back-to-back with the standard calipers. But yeah, the brakes alone, I mean, these calipers are what, 400, 500, 600 quid, so it soon adds up trying to purchase these separately when you think that the SP comes with everything. Now this is that bumpy road, so we've got national speed limit, and look at the road, terribly choppy. Those Brembo brakes happily bringing the bike to a stop, and the bike on a standard comes with the Pirelli Supercorsa tyres, which if you're tracking it or you're hot summer riding, brilliant. But because we're here in the UK, Spence uses it as a road bike, he's gone with the Pirelli Rosso Corsas, which, as you've seen my other reviews, for me, a fantastic tyre and the best tyre for me. But that said, might be becoming a bit of a turncoat in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned, because we've got some tyres to play with coming in for the R1. To be honest with you, riding it now with the monoblocks and the rubber hoses and the standard master cylinder, because normally you can upgrade all that and get some good gains out of it, the brakes feel ample for the road. I'm assuming it's got stock pads in it, but they are absolutely effortless with the power and very linear and progressive, which is nice. There's nothing worse than having really grabby brakes that initially bite very hard and then don't have any further give, whereas this, you can really modulate the braking power on it, which is a wonderful thing.
So another unique feature to the SP Fireblade is the rear subframe. It's lightweight, it's got cutouts, and it's got this unique hump on it as well, compared to the standard one, which when you put the pillion cover on is just flat. Now I have seen replica ones on the market because it is fantastic looking, but you'll always be able to spot a real one purely because of that machined out rear subframe, which unfortunately now means you can't carry a pillion. So these never came with a pillion seat as standard either.
It's crazy how much more comfortable it is than the R1. Like, it's still a sports bike, so if you're getting on this thinking you're going to be riding an adventure bike, and comfort wise, no, not at all. But compared to, I mean, for me, I think the Panigale is probably the most uncomfortable sports bike I've ridden. I'd love to get one on track because that's where it's built to be, but for road use, I think you're hard pushed to beat the Fireblade for the comfort, the package, especially the SP with the O-lins. The gearbox is lovely on this.
So let's go on to the potential negatives of the Fireblade SP. Now, when these were new, it was a £3,000 option over the standard bike, which when you think about the cost of the O-lins, the Brembos, the blueprinted engine, bargain, no disputing that. But what was really disappointing is as standard, it came with rubber hoses instead of braided, which again is easy to change. And it also came with the standard exhaust, which Spence has got the full Akrapovic on there, which sounds absolutely wonderful, as you probably heard in the clips. The final negative for the Fireblade, no quick shifter, something so simple that could have been put in. All the other manufacturers of this time have been doing it. A real shame that Honda didn't put that in there. I know a lot of people grumbled about them having no electronics, but as you see today out on the road, unless you're stupid with it, you can apply that power. Obviously, it's nice to have that safety blanket with anti-wheelie, slide control, but there's also something quite fascinating about being one with the bike. It's your responsibility to get this right, although saying that in A&E is probably not a good move.
So cost wise, what does a Fireblade SP cost you now? Well, I think, and I mean I'll put it up, I think Spence paid about £10,000 for this, give or take, which had 4,500 miles, it's pristine, it's got the Akrapovic silencer, or Krapovic if you want me to pronounce it correctly, and it feels like a brand new bike. Now, even like all the trims and the clips still look factory fresh, no corrosion. You can see this is a low mileage bike and it rides tight, it doesn't feel loose. It really is a wonderful package. I have seen them down as low as 8.5, 9, and again, if you were going to buy a Fireblade of this shape and then you were to put the O-lins on, I mean, what's the O-lins? Let's have a debate in the comments. What do you think it would cost to build a Fireblade base spec version of this, not the SP, and put O-lins, Brembos? I mean, I don't even know where you'd go to send off a blueprinted engine. That's got to be in the thousands, but I think it's a good value for money. In the used market, these seem to be, for this year, around £1,500, £2,000 more than a standard one. This would be in the facelift one, which, again, I can't be exactly sure on the year. I think it was 2014. It came with the multi-spoke wheels, and they changed the dash over, which for me, I always preferred the big analog dash, and I still do. But that said, it's a lovely clear dash to read, had no problems using it today, and we've had it out in the sunshine as well.
The Fireblade has always been the trusty bike in the sports bike world, especially through the early 90s until the R1 come and knocked it off of its pedestal. And the thing for me that's been fantastic with the Fireblade is it's always been a great bike to use on the road. You get things like the BMW S1000RR, the Panigale, the R1, all blisteringly fast, but for me, they're track bikes that have been made road legal, whereas the Fireblade has always been a road bike that you can take on the track. And if you're anything like myself, I love being on track, but ultimately it spends most of its time on the road, and for that the Fireblade really is a great choice.
I think to summarise on this sort of bike is, if you go and buy, I mean the S1000RR probably falls into this same camp as well, but not as comfortable, is if you go and buy a Panigale, if you go and buy, like what I had before, an RC8, they don't flatter you. If you're not a particularly confident rider, and I'm not saying a bad rider, and I'm not saying I'm a shit hot rider either, but I think they can make you look pretty clumsy and stupid, whereas this, like, smooth on the power. I mean, I can remember coming around here on the RC8 and it was all over, like, back with that power delivery. Same as the R1 until we got it out, but this at the factory, look how smooth it is. Like, it's absolutely lovely, and it's so flickable. It's brought back a lot of good memories today, this bike being on this, and I know the Fireblade's taken some stick in the later years of not being a up there with the cutting edge of the later stuff. But Jesus, just what a lovely thing to be out on the road on in the sunshine. Honestly, I can't think what more you realistically need. If I had one of these in the garage, I would be perfectly happy if it was a one bike. But yeah, I'm a greedy bugger, as you know from the channel, and I've got a few, and variety is the spice of life and all that. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. A massive thanks to Spence for letting me take his baby out. I'm sure he's going to have many good miles on it this year, and to be honest with you, it just looks fantastic, doesn't it? Especially when Marquez was the reigning king on these. I mean, unfortunately now everyone's got to buy a Ducati, and I'm a Marquez fanboy because I say I worked at Honda. But yeah, what a bit of kit. Mate, fucking, she wants to sing, boy. I assume you heard me come past. Right, I just got to do one more shot on it, which is the rev counter with the GoPro, you know, the fucking bougie one.